Hi, everybody. I just wanted to clarify something because I always talk about that I went from one sort of toxic relationship to another when I was young. But actually, I wasn't always in what you would call a classic toxic relationship. Some of them, in fact, one of them was absolutely great fun. I felt really loved and happy for a while, but then things did start to shift, and it was subtle at first. By the end, there was never any emotional abuse, or there was oh, sorry about all the banging. There's somebody upstairs. There was never any overt toxicity in this relationship. There was never any emotional abuse. But what happened was he just started to withdraw emotionally. And what happened was the closer we got, the more he pulled back, and he just couldn't fully commit. And the worst thing was that he refused to talk about it. And so I started to become really needy and wanting validation and wanting his approval. And I turned into this needy girl that I just really disliked, because that wasn't who I was. Really wanting validation and approval. It was awful. And I put all my needs last, and I just danced around him trying to make him happy. And I kept minimizing how unhappy I was and just hoping that he was going to change and that things would work out again, instead of realizing that I was actually settling for less than I deserved and putting my needs last. And I should have just left him at that point before he actually went on to cheat on me and then dump me. The warning signs were all there. But it's difficult when it's not violence or real toxicity, when it's subtle unavailability, emotional unavailability. And many of the women I speak to are the same, successful, well-educated. And what happens is they've left toxic, even abusive marriages when they come to me, and they've rebounded to someone else very, very quickly before they've even had the opportunity to fully heal themselves. And they're in this new relationship, and now they're confused, because whenever they start to get close in that to the new spark, flame, whatever, and feel great about the relationship, something always goes wrong. Their partner pulls back, or the relationship, some fight happens and the relationship breaks up, and then it's on again, off again, on again, off again. And I hear this so many, many times. And it's really difficult because, as I said, it's not like it's overt. They're even confused. Is this even an abusive relationship? One thing in common with all these women that I'm talking about is that they're not sure whether it's abusive or not. They're not sure whether they've repeated the pattern from the last relationship because it's so different. But they all say the same thing. When something happens, say they get ill or whatever, and they need their partner the most, that partner's not there for them. They make it about them, and there's just zero compassion and support. And they just feel abandoned and alone. And they wonder, did I jump in too soon? Am I repeating the pattern from before? Maybe I am. But then what happens is they hear all those promises to change, and they put those doubts back again. They hear, oh, I didn't mean it. I'll do better next time. All those empty promises and all those self-doubts, just that really are the red flags and warning signs starting to, appear before their eyes. They then just push them down again and ignore them. And they think maybe this time he or she will. Maybe they will change this time. But here's the thing. They also, while they're clinging on to hope that this relationship's going to change, they're also telling me the reality. They don't feel good enough. They're afraid that this might be the best that they can get. And if they walk away, then they'll never find a love like this again. That's what they fear. There's a lot of insecurities. Yet they're also worrying that they're wasting precious years. And they say to me, you know, why do I keep going back when all I want is emotional stability, security, and peace? I don't understand it. I don't know whether any of you felt like that. You've gone on a rebound into a new relationship. It's not the same. It's not abusive. It's not toxic, but there's something just missing. And you can never get close to this person because whenever you do, they pull away. They cannot commit. Something happens. It breaks you up. Then it's on again, off again, on again, off again. And, you know, you keep trying to fix things, but manipulation, I know it, you think it's different, but manipulation doesn't have to be violence. It can come in a very subtle form, and it can also be done covertly with a smile. And it can be confusing, and especially when they're making promises that this time they're going to change and fix it. And you think maybe this time they will. But the bottom thing is, you know, if somebody's promising to change for you, to get you back, then who are they changing for? Are they changing for you or themselves? Because unless they change for themselves, they're not doing it for the right reasons, and it's never going to last. You know, they're making you responsible for it if they're changing to get you back. And guess what's going to happen when they go back to their old commitment phobic ways? They're going to blame you. Well, your expectations were too high. Or they'll say something like, if you really love me, you take me as I am, you know? And so that promise to change was just a manipulation to get you back. And then what they'll do is they'll convince you, they'll tap into those fears you've got of ending up alone, and they'll convince you no one's going to love me like I do. You're too old, it's too late for you. You know, that sort of thing that you believe. And then you start to really fear, and that keeps you stuck in that relationship. You think, what if they're right? Perhaps this is the best that I can get. Maybe my expectations are too high. Even though a minute ago these women have told me they're miserable, they're worrying, they're wasting precious years, they don't feel good enough, they know this isn't right for them. You know, you can see how you can dismiss these warning signs and just convince yourself, again, it's all going to be okay. Or you might be the other way, actually. You might be the other way around. You might think that you're in control of a relationship like that. That's the other danger thing. It's so subtle that you might think that you're actually in control of it. Because after leaving the much more abusive relationship beforehand that came before, you've found a bit of courage, you've got a little bit stronger, and you think it's good, I'm fine, it's on my terms, and I can leave whenever I want, I'm good. But the reality, and who's done that here? You know, the reality is actually this person and the relationship is controlling you. You just haven't admitted it to yourself yet, because if you really did admit to yourself, deep down, you already know you're worth better than this. And the reality is that you're just too scared to leave, because there is that fear. What if I never see them again? What if I'm never going to find love? What if I'm not good enough and I'm going to end up alone? It all comes down to that. So you just stay confused. And what I would ask you is, what if this person never changes? Are you truly, madly, deeply happy? And are you fulfilled physically, spiritually, emotionally, enough that you will remain so for the rest of your life? It's a tough question, but it's a really good one. And even more, what if by compromising your standards and settling for less, you're missing out on the opportunity and the time that you might be able to use to find the real man or woman of your dreams? And if you're staying all those years settling, you're blowing that opportunity and wasting more precious years. So I'll leave you with that thought. And I'll just check if there's any comments quickly. Hello, little Iodine. You're always here. That's lovely. Elbow bump to you as well. You're learning your whole life, including being born into a very messed up, abusive family. I was programmed to fix. I'll just show this actually. Can I show this? Yeah. I'm learning my whole life, including being born into a very messed up, abusive family. I was programmed to fix, enable, tolerate bad stuff. I'm now working on me from waking up to all this. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it is. These are lifetime patterns that we are ingrained in us and our subconscious within us. And, you know, even if it's not a toxic or very violent or overtly emotionally abusive relationships, you can still be in relationships with people who are manipulative like that. And you just think, but there's so many wonderful qualities about them. They're great. They're lovely. They're really nice. They're a good father, whatever. Yet you ignore the fact that every time you get close to them, they either disappear and break up with you, or they just pull so far away from you, you can't connect to them anymore. You know, that emotionally unavailable type. And it's the same cycle. You will feel great. You will love their warm qualities at times. But then the other times when they are just not there for you, especially when you need them most, it will really hurt. It will really hurt. Why are they not there for me? Why, when every time the relationship feels fantastic and I feel like finally we're getting close and we can commit and trust each other deeper than ever and get that connection I'm looking for, why do they keep pulling away? So if that sounds familiar to you, because it is to a lot of women that I speak to, then and you're looking to be liberated in life and love, then and break free from those patterns, even those subtle ones that are you know, not leading to the happiness and freedom and peace and emotional stability that you're looking for, then if you haven't watched it already, I really encourage you to watch my free webinar, How to Recover from Toxic Relationships, Fall Back in Love with Your Life, and Never Settle for Less Than You Deserve Again. Anyway, I hope that's helped, and I really look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.